Hi friends, it's Butch from the Butch and Chris Show. Now this is not like any episode that we have ever recorded. You see, a few months ago, Chris and I had the distinct privilege and honor to sit down with two men who were a part of history. Shelby Grimes and Troy Braswell were both 98 years old at the time of the recording. Mr. Grimes and Mr. Braswell are also both World War II veterans, and both served in the United States Navy in the Pacific Theater. So in this episode of the Butch and Chris Show, there's no funny intros, no funny sounds, no jokes, and no intro music. Just a conversation with two American men who served their country in the largest conflict of the 20th century. Two men who do not count themselves as anything special, but Chris and I know different and have a much different opinion on that, because we think both of these men are absolutely heroes from the greatest generation in American history. So my friends, meet Mr. Shelby Grimes and Mr. Troy Braswell.
What's your full name?
Full name?
Yes, sir.
Shelby Glenn Grimes.
Mr. Grimes.
Yeah.
And your name, sir?
Troy B. Braswell.
Braswell. When and where were you born, Mr.
Enola.
Enola? You were in Enola.
Enola.
And you were in Shreveport?
Yes, Shreveport, Louisiana.
And then came to God's country, moved to Arkansas.
Right.
Good deal. So, before the war, what were y'all both doing?
The year before the war, I went to California. I had a brother and sister in California. And I went out there and worked on a ranch for Fred McMurray, if you've ever heard of him.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Yeah.
He owned a big ranch out of Santa Rosa, California, right down on the Russian River. I don't know how many acres, I know it was big. And I worked out there all summer. So I went back home. The war was going on. That was 1942. The war had already started. And they was drafting him. You had arrested for the draft at 18 years old. And I didn't want the Army. But you could volunteer at 17. So my oldest brother served 24 years in the Navy during World War II. I wanted to go in the Navy, so I went back home and went down and volunteered for the Navy. They sent me to San Diego, California. They gave me my choice, San Diego or Illinois, Great Lakes, Illinois.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't want to go up there. It was winter time coming on. I said it'd be a little warmer out there in California. It would be in Illinois. So I come here in California.
Mr. Troy?
Yeah.
Same question.
Okay. I had it graduated from high school early. I graduated in January the 28th. I was supposed to have graduated in May or June, but I graduated at 28. I was 16 years old. And on January 31st, I was 17. And on the 28th, as I graduated, I got a call to the principal's office, and I went up to the principal's office, and he said, "Would you like a job?" I said, "Doing what?" And he said, "Drafting." And he said, "Do you know anything about drafting?" I said, "I've got 4 years here in high school and drafted." He said, "I'll send you to Atlantic Refining Company for a job." I went down and applied and got the job. And they told me that I would not have to go to the service because it was taxing. I mean, we had to find oil for the whole country, and it was an oil company, and so I took the job, loved the job, 2 months later, I had my mother sign the papers, and I joined the Navy and went to San Diego.
So y'all both went to basic in San Diego.
Yes.
I went to Camp Far. There were 3 camps there at the time. Far in there. I can't remember those 2 names. I know I went to they sent me to San Diego first boot camp.
Yes, sir. So y'all, I'm assuming y'all were both single at this time.
Yeah.
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 Lots of girlfriends. No wife.
No, when there's that.
Yes.
Back in that.
So, of course, we were supporting our allies before Pearl Harbor. But what were y'all feeling when y'all heard Pearl Harbor got bombed by the Japanese? Where were you, and how did you feel about that? Just curious.
I'm about middle of the field, waiting around out there on Sunday. I remember being on Sunday, December the 7th.
Yes, sir.
And on Sunday, I stood up. And so the war lasts long no ways. And Japan, just a little small country, I said, we might just up and up, boy, and I ran around and know it, whoop, oh, fuck. I mean, it didn't work out that way.
No, sir, it didn't. Mr. Troy?
My cousin and I were riding bicycles on Sunday afternoon after church, and we got the word. We dropped in a service station, and it was on the radio, and we both split. He went one way, and I went the other way. Went home and fought and listened to it on the radio with my folks. And I really didn't have any opinion about it. It just, we're in a war, and that didn't scare me.
Didn't scare you?
No.
So y'all were both in the Navy. Mr. Troy, you, from your hat there, I'm assuming you were on the Mississippi.
Yes.
And you were on the Missouri for a little while, you said?
14 months.
14 months.
Right.
And then you ended up on the...
Then I was on the USS Mariana. We pulled up that was a net, and then we pulled up all of the nets, submarine nets on the Golden Gate Bridge there. That's hard. When the war ended.
So we've already established that y'all both went to San Diego to basic training. Tell me about basic training. Mr. Troy, I'll start with you this time.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed basic training. It was exercise.
Every day.
I mean, they had you moving. The war was going on, and they were running us through by the thousands and getting us ready to go to battle. And so I participated and did well, and I enjoyed it.
Same for you? Did you enjoy it?
You talking to me?
Yes, sir.
No, I didn't enjoy it. I'd have come home for that. Especially for me, that's a little different from what I grew up on that bed, you know. I said, man, if that's where you're going to feed them, I'm going to go home. and my mom was a better cook than that.
I tell you.
And I remember when I had this up, I went through a line. There were 2 guys on this side and 2 guys on this side. Give me shots as you run through there. But I didn't enjoy that either.
The inoculations that they were giving y'all.
Now, that's a long story, Pyre. I come home and got married. 19 When did I get married? Not me and you, but 1950. Yeah, I got a job in Little Rock, working at a glass company. And they won one auto glass shop in Little Rock at that time. They installed auto glass. And I took a job down there, and I worked for about 6 or 7 months. And the foreman there, her name was Roy Pruitt. He come around one day, I got pretty good doing it. He said, I want to put me in a glass shop. I said, I want you to go to work for me. I said, well, anything beats this. I wasn't making no money. So we opened up Capital Glass Company. It's in Broadway in 1950. And this was 1949. We're going to put in that glass company. Well, he didn't, Roy didn't live but about 5 years after that. He had emphysema real bad. He couldn't, got where he couldn't work. So 1950, we opened Capital Glass Company. And he still got the company. My son has it now. I worked there till I retired. My son has it, and his son, my grandson. And they're still there. It's in Broadway, Little Rock.
I knew Capital Glass has been around a long time for sure.
And,
Yeah.
It's been doing pretty good.
So, did you spend your entire career on the Mississippi?
Done 2.5 years.
But I mean your entire naval career on the Mississippi?
Yes. We were bombarding Okinawa, and I had been spitting up blood for 2 weeks, and I wouldn't go to sick bay, and I was working in the exec's office at that time, and the guys in the exec's office turned me in, and the exec said, "You go to sick bay right now." And they escorted me to a sick bay, and they checked me out, and I heard that the doctor said, "This kid is sick." And the coroner said, "What's wrong with him?" "He has tuberculosis, and he's got 3 months to live. And we got to get him off his ship."
And was that the final? Did you have TV?
That's what, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they put me on a landing craft in the middle of the battle. 500 kamikazes was attacking the Navy fleet, and I'm on this landing craft going to the hospital ship to be quarantined. And on the way over there, a kamikaze hits the destroyer, and when the smoke clears, the destroyer is not there anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of scary.
So you ended up after. Did you go on the Missouri before you were on the Lipscomb? That's for you. You were on the Missouri
Yeah.
for 14 months,
That's the last ship I was on.
but you were on the Lipscomb before that.
And Lipscomb Bay.
Lipscomb Bay.
And that was the first ship I was on, USS Lipscomb Bay, CB 56. We were flying F-6s and TBMs.
Yes, sir.
And he got torpedoed. It was early one morning. I don't remember what time. Well, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I remember that.
The stuff I read, they were preparing the deck to launch airplanes.
He got hit by a torpedo, and he got hit in the magazine where stored all the ammunition. I was reading his sank less than 20 minutes. From the time it was torpedo, he carried a crew. I got the figures at home. 500. It carried a crew a little over 700. And there's your friend. little over 700, and there was 193 or 94. It got off of it, and then 500 and something it was lost. And the USS Mississippi picked up both of us.
Yeah. That's what I did.
You remember picking them up?
Yeah, that was in China Sea.
Yeah. He was in the Gilbert
That's-
Islands,
that's-
actually, where
this
the
is
ship
all-
got sunk.
Yeah, this is on the other side of the
Coast of Macon.
Philippines.
Wow.
Yeah. He was on CVE aircraft carrier.
Yep. I know
that
that
was
was
so-
care.
They told me, of course, everything I had was lost, all of my records and everything. They brought me back to Pearl Harbor and set me up in Norwood Bay here in Pearl Harbor. And I spent another year and a half up there. I didn't get a payday for about a year and a half. They lost all my records, everything was lost. They did, they what they call a Navy relief fund or something. They were kind enough to give me $10 a month for the whole time I was up there. Now I tell you what to do to keep you on base. You didn't get out partying around.
Sure, right.
That's for sure. So, on the Lipscomb Bay, what was your job?
I was a boatswain mate. I done just about everything.
So what does that entail?
Well, that's a kind of a deck rating. The Navy got so many ratings, so I couldn't come as to name you all of them. This would be probably 85 or 86 if you wanted to break it down in that category.
Gotcha. Mr. Troy, you were the
I was a seaman first class, and
Second ones and
I was in the 3rd Division, which manned the number 3 turret, and I was a powder man. I put the powder into the guns that shot the 14-inch shells when we were bombarding the island. I was called the powder man.
So what did those powder bags weigh?
About 40 pounds.
And you were going as fast as you can go, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
on the USS Missouri, you had 14-inch guns.
Uh-huh.
We had 16-inch.
Right.
16-inch gun. Had 9 guns on there, 16-inch gun. And I was gun captain on the starboard gun, turret number 2. I seen it's the gun got loaded. If you get in a hurry, you can reload it, bring it back, and load it in positions, and have it ready to fire in about 14 seconds. And that gun was accurate for 22 miles. It took 6 bags of black powder, about that big range, about that long. It took 6 bags. And it wasn't long after that, the USS New Jersey, one of the guns blew up. One's a big 16-inch gun, it blew up. And then could figure out what was wrong with it. I said, I didn't what was wrong with it. I said, they crammed six bags of black powder in that gun before they fired. Then when they bring that gun back in loading position, you got a little platform back there, you stand on, a bunch of lights up here, you start punching these buttons, telling them that the gun is ready to fire. But when you got to breach that thing, it's got a recoil of about 48 inches, and you better get off that platform. It'll knock you. And when you bring it back down in loading position, and you got to breach that thing, well, you got to get down and look out there in that barrel. Now, the barrel on that thing is 66 feet long. It's a 16 inch 50. You can multiply it out 50 inch, multiply that 800 inches, and then by 12 in that, you come up with 66 feet, and I believe it's 8 inches. In Missouri, top speed is about 36 knots. I said miles, but they're knots. not at a mile and a half. And it's about to, but those guns, they're accurate for about 22 miles. We fired 9 guns one time, same time. And for ones that it was topside and seen it, no. Then we had whale boats or lifeboats tied all down one side of the ship. They were wood, paneled wood, full of life jackets. And they said when all those 9 guns went off, said them life jackets flying everywhere up there.
I'm sure that rocked the ship.
Yeah. And then 188 feet long and 180 feet wide. Got 7 main decks and 11 platform decks, they call them.
That's a big boat.
45,000 ton ship, what it was.
So what was it like when the guns went off on the Mississippi?
You
Mr.
know,
Short?
When they fired, the whole ship would rock backwards, and they try not to shoot all 9 of them at one time. Might turn the ship over.
I wouldn't recommend it. But they know we're at the different. Where it's cold weather up there, they wanted to test those guns in cold weather. They fired all 9 at one time.
Yeah.
So did y'all go through any training while y'all were overseas?
Overseas?
Yeah,
No.
during the war?
No.
No training then?
No, I didn't go through any training. I was aboard ship Howard Happy.
Or did you go through any training? Extra
After the
training?
war was over, well, Missouri started taking all these summer cruises, like reserve and all for training. Midship, we went to Maryland up there and picked up a load of midshipmen. We took them to France, Cherbourg, France for a week. Come back, had another load, but took them to Portsmouth, England for a week. But they didn't keep us in port very long. Our home port was Norfolk, Virginia. We was cruising in and out of Norfolk. And that's where it's at whenever I had this time I discharged. Norfolk.
Mr. Troy, did you receive any training?
Yes. On board the ship. Yeah, we had training, and I was small and only weighed 123 pounds, and I fit in that little hole where the powder come out and shove it into the gun, and so I was small and fit in there, and I could handle it, and it was all right, but about a year later, a guy came to our division and says, "Can anybody in here type?" I made a mistake. I held up my hand, and they said, "You're wanted in the exec's office." And I went down, and they said, "Let's see you type." And I typed, and they liked it. They moved me from the 3rd Division to the exec's office. And then my battle station then was an old 5-inch gun, and I was still the powder man.
You didn't get out of that.
I didn't get out of that.
So, in the Navy, did they issue y'all any weapons?
No.
No,
No weapons at all?
No.
no.
See, y'all,
You go up to the Army, if you're stationed on a base, they moved us from, I don't know how many different stations that they moved us before we went aboard ship. And some of them was in Arizona, and there's a lot of rattlesnakes up there. And we used to go up there to the Army, but they issue a 45. Some of you go rattlesnake hunting if you wanted to. I didn't take them up too many times. I'm not too fond of them rattlesnakes.
No, they didn't. But
you could get the guns. They let you have them. And there's a lot of them did, a lot of sailors did. That's when there's a training of an officer. And I got an officer, the plane I was assigned, they assigned you to one plane, F-6s, either F-6s. That was the fastest plane that the Navy had during World War II, was the F-6 fighter and TVM, torpedo dog bombers. And you could go up there and they set you out a gun if you go snack on there or whatever. I didn't tell him up to me times one day. I didn't take fun and sank so kind of way. Bigger than little. I'm scared of all of them.
So, Mr. Troy, you were in the XO's office. Did you admire the XO, or executive officer?
Yeah, the exec was second in command.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it a whole lot. And my duty was I worked on the bridge with the headphones over, and I sent the message to the whole ship, whatever the officer of the day told me to do. That was my off-duty. That wasn't my battle job. No, my battle job was powder man, you know.
Yes, sir.
And never knew that I was going to live next door to one of the guys on my same ship.
So you ended up meeting him after the war?
Yeah.
How about on meeting?
Yeah, he was a lieutenant, and I was a little old seaman.
So, Mr. Grimes, what are some of your most memorable experiences from World War II?
Man. I really have to stop thinking about that. Get mad, I guess.
Get that one?
Yeah. And I was ready to go home.
I get it.
Yeah. My mama could cook the first, and I miss biscuits to every evening, but you didn't get that in the Navy. You got potatoes, and I used to wonder how they could grow enough potatoes to feed all the Navy 3 times a day, 7 days a week. But they managed somehow to make them drink them. I wasn't too fond of them.
You still not fond of them?
Yeah. Yeah, I love potatoes.
Mr. Troy, do you have any really memorable experiences that stick out during World War II for you?
Yeah, 2 of them. Well, 3 of them really, but the first was we bombarded. We'd go take the Philippines. General MacArthur had been run out of the Philippines years before, and we took the whole Navy fleet. Took MacArthur. After bombardment, we put MacArthur ashore, and that was a big triumph for the Army, you know. And I thought that was pretty neat. Never knew that he was born right there in Little Rock.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It is. Anyway, the next one was had a battle with the Japanese fleet, and we sunk the Japanese fleet. Now, I said, the whole Navy fleet, we had 3 or 4 battleships too, besides cruisers, destroyers, and all. But we sunk their main fleet and their biggest carrier that they had. So that was quite a fight.
What battle was that?
Lady Gulf. It's a battle of Lady Gulf.
Lady Gulf?
Uh-huh.
So were you on the Missouri? Didn't Japan surrender on the Missouri?
It did.
Were you there?
I got set pictures of that. Japanese surrendered.
So you were there?
I wasn't on that ship. I was on a different ship.
We don't go.
But I got a set of pictures. When I went aboard the Missouri, I knew that was his ship that the peace treaty was signed aboard. I knew the photographer pretty well. I asked him, I said, you wouldn't by chance have a picture of all that? He said, I got a whole set of. He said, I'll give them to you. I did, and he gave me a whole set of.
That's all.
Peace treaties being signed for it. And there's a big plaque about that big around right in the middle of the deck out there where the peace treaty was signed aboard. It got MacArthur and Admiral Nimitz, and I don't remember how many he was the Admiral Nimitz was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I've seen the picture, for sure. That's a very famous picture.
yeah,
It's got a fit.
That's amazing. Really amazing. Is there anything that I've forgotten to ask y'all about your military service in World War II that y'all can think of that y'all would like people to know?
I'd do it all over again if I had to, if they'd take me. And she'd let me go.
Well, if you wanted to go,
I'd volunteer again for it. I would.
look here. I like doing it.
Mr. Troy?
Well, back then, it was a different time, and all the guys, we even had guys 14 years old in our group, because they lied about their age. But they were big guys, and everybody was signing up to go. You know, they love this country, and they wanted to win the war. And I'd hate to see us get in the war today. I don't think the young people of today have that same attitude. Maybe if we got in the war, maybe they would. I don't know, but different times were back then than they are today.
So, Mr. Grimes, I know the Lipscomb Bay was torpedoed. Did you ever get attacked on the Mississippi?
Get attacked.
No, Mr. Troy, I know you got torpedoed on the Lipscomb Bay. I'm asking Mr. Troy, did you ever get attacked on the Mississippi?
No. On the Mississippi?
For Mr. Troy.
Oh, no.
Did y'all ever get attacked?
Yeah, we had a
No.
we had a kamikaze that hit the ship, and he had a bomb on it, and when he hit the ship, the bomb went off, and we were running to our battle station, and I just fixed to step through the hatch. I started the guy going to my battle station, and 38 men right in front of it were killed by that bomb. I mean, I saw all that red metal go knock just leveled them down. Had to be God and working. Scared me to death for sure. And the guy got a hold of his car, and I'll show you how to get there. Everybody had to run the same way when you go to the battle station. Can't everybody really.
Right.
And that was I'll remember that forever.
Can I sit there?
So, you mentioned today.
Tell me, I've had people ask me if I scared. And if they said they went through that and said if they weren't scared, I'd tell them they're lying.
That's right. You'd be right.
Yeah.
When we pulled into Pearl Harbor for the first time, and I saw all those sunken ships and the air base over there with all those airplanes destroyed, I said, what have I got myself into?
Yeah.
I started shaking.
I can't imagine.
Oh, man, it was awful.
I just got a note handed to me that you're on one of the first ships to see the destruction at Pearl Harbor after the bombing, after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. You were one of the first ships to see that. Oh.
USS Arizona, I think it's still there.
No, it's sunk. It's a memorial. No, I'm saying y'all showed up after the attack, and the first was to see all that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So you mentioned today's generation. Do y'all have any advice that you want to pass on to this generation? I'm just curious.
I don't know.
You can go first.
Yeah. I'd go again if I could, and that'd take me. And I'm 2 weeks short of 99. I'll be 99 years old, 6th day of September.
And the thing is, if we get in a war and they would take me, I'd go. I'd do something. I'd have to sit in a chair and type. You know, I mean, if the youth of today are not going to have the patriotism that we had back in those days, we're going to lose. I think about that every once in a while.
So, just a quick story that I'll tell you that was instilled in me as a little boy. My grandfather was a merchant marine during World War II. He was a welder. And he loved football. He made every football game in this town. It didn't matter if it was Pee Wee all the way up to UCA or SCA at the time. I don't think I was 5 years old and he took me to a UCA football game. And the national anthem started playing. And of course, I'm 5. I was cutting up, running around in a circle. And he was a very quiet, gentle man. He never said a word until after it was over. And we sat down and he said, "Boy, let me tell you something. When that song's playing, you stand there and you put your hand over your heart and you look at that flag and you think about all the people that died so we can be here watching a football game." And that stuck. It very much stuck. And I'm very patriotic. I would definitely go. I know he would go. We have like-minded values. I would hope people would step up and realize we live in the greatest country on the planet.
Exactly.
And I just hope that they would do that. For sure.
And one old boy on there, the morning that sounded the alarm, we had some of the airplanes that we had, the wings would pulled up like this on those fighters.
Were these Adonis? Is that what they were?
F-6s.
F-6.
The fighters was F-6s.
Hellcats?
And
I'm not sure which F-6 is.
The bombers, it was TBMs, they called them.
Yes, sir.
TBM, but the fighters planes there, they'd pulled up like this, and they had a hangar deck, the second deck down.
Right.
And storing down there. And of course, they was trying to get the planes off, as many as they could, and everything, get them all off. But this one plane was sitting out on the flight deck, had his wings spread, ready to take off. And this one old boy, right across here in the wing, is just about level, mouth level. And he run into that wing of that airplane, knocked about half his teeth out. When he hit it.
Goodness.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, you bet.
I can't thank you enough for coming down and sitting in and
Thank you for inviting us.
and putting up with us, and especially him. You know.
Right.
But is there anything that you would like to close with? I mean, a story or just a thought about your service?
Well, I ain't never much thought. I'm glad to get out. I'm glad I made it home.
Oh, please. But
I'll tell you a little story about that. My cousin was a year older than I was, and I was 16 at the time, and he was 17. He said, come on, let's go join the Marines and win the war. I said, my folks are not going to sign no paper. He says, come on. My folks said that I could go join the Marines. I want you to go with me. I said, I'm not. My folks won't sign the paper. And he says, I bet they would. And I said, I know my mother wouldn't. I know my dad definitely wouldn't. And anyway, he went and joined the Marine Corps, went out to California, and a year later, I signed up. I'd go volunteer. I didn't want to fight in a foxhole. I'd rather fight the water than being in a foxhole. So that's why I chose the Navy. I was just hammered by the ships and all. And anyway, I signed up to the Navy, and he was out there in California, so while I was in San Diego, I went up the coast where the Marine base was and visited it, and he's doing fine. He was working on, he was raised in the garage business, and he was teaching the kids how to work on an airplane. You know, you can have all these fighter airplanes. Somebody got to take care of them.
Yes, right.
Well, he was so good at it, he became a professor. He was so good at it that the lieutenant that taught it, he passed him up, and he never went during the war. He had to get out. He had to, when the war was over, and go through in 3 months over in the war zone to say he'd been in the war zone to get out. He never carried a gun.
That's unbelievable, too. Being in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. And when he got out, he became a doctor.
That is awesome.
I tell you one thing that happened one time. It was somewhere in California. They moved us some place and wouldn't keep us maybe 10 days, 2 weeks at one airport. Some of it night flight, training pilots. And we used to, I can't remember the name of this base was in. But they was going to move all the planes to a different hangar, and it was about a quarter and a half a mile from where they had them at that time. And I was assigned to one plane, and my pilot that I had to take care of was from England, Arkansas, down there. That's the only plane that I ever worked on, is that one plane. He was from England. Well, I got in that thing, started out. We're going to taxi it down there as that other one. I didn't know nothing about what astronomy meant or what that meant or anything. I got that thing going. I got it going too fast. And I almost lifted that thing off the ground before I get off. See, I said, I always try that in the book. But I made it.
So being Navy guys, I mean, synonymous with tattoos. Y'all got tattoos?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Now, nobody of mine talked me into that. I could kill him. In New York.
I was in line to get a tattoo, and there in Honolulu, and was the guys are already running now getting tattoos, so I had to have one, and I didn't drink, and they were giving me beer and wine and a shot of whiskey every once in a while, and I got deathly sick, and I was next in line to get the tattoo. I had to go to the restroom to throw up, or I'd throw up all over the guy. And when I come back, I tried to get in line, and they wouldn't let me in line. And they said, you have to go to the other line. The line went out the building and went 2 rocks down the street. I said, I'm not getting in that line. I was glad I got sick. I learned to drink. You didn't keep it down.
Well, it comes with the territory sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
For sure. Gentlemen, it is an absolute honor to talk to y'all today.
It's an honor for you for doing it. Really appreciate it.
For sure. Anything else y'all want to tell these folks? There'll be at least 10 people watch this.
Well, that's all right. That's 10.
So far, of course, they have it on Veterans Day over here at New Year's Sweet Shop. They honor the oldest veteran. And so far, they usually give them $100 for the oldest veteran. It's there. It's the Union House is full of veterans, but not 1 or 2 old ones. And so far, I've won $100 every time. Oldest vet.
Mr. George, did you know about that?
No.
How old are you?
It's the one.
90, after 2 weeks, I'll be 90.
I know you're about to be 99. Is it 100 or 99?
I'll be 99.
You'll be 99.
Yeah.
I'll be 99.
You'll be.
You'll be 99.
In January.
In January.
I'll be 99 next month, by 2 weeks.
Y'all come. It's the 11th of November every year.
Yeah, every year, Julie's Sweet Shop.
Julie's Donut Shop down there.
Yeah.
She has it every year on the 11th of November.
Okay, we'll remember it. Maybe you'll be sick that day and can't go.
Yeah.
Well,
You may get $100.
You may do it.
There's just one other one.
There's 2 of us. We have to go by our birthday.
Younger than Carter.
Okay.
And if you probably did, if your birthday, you'll be 100 in January.
No, I'll be 99.
Oh, I'll be 99. 2 weeks. Yeah.
You're just a little over, but
Yeah.
just a little.
just a little bit. Just a little.
You might already say, oh, I need that $100. So,
You're over than he is.
damn it.
Oh, it's
Okay. Yeah.
The word was safe. Gentlemen, thank y'all again.
Okay.
My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Butch and Chris Show, my friends. As I stated earlier, it was our honor to be able to sit down with these 2 men and hear their stories. A special thanks to Mr. Shelby Grimes and Mr. Troy Braswell, and to my wife, Debbie Renfro, for coordinating and helping to put together this opportunity. For my co-host and friend, Chris Curtis, we both appreciate you listening and hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Speaking of which, next week is our Christmas show and a return to the usual shenanigans. We'll see you next week. Bye.